Onana was the hero for Manchester United when he saved the penalty in the first half. 2 minutes after that, the Ligt scored his first goal for Manchester United. At the end of the first half, Rashford made it 2-0, and in the second half, almost end of the game, Garnacho scored the final goal of the game. Okay, guys, if you look at that, we've been criticizing Ten Hag on what he's been doing, but today it seems like what he did worked, even though they were lucky that Onana saved that penalty. If they had scored that first penalty, probably the game would have changed at some point, because events happen in the game that mean how a coach approaches a game after that. So Onana saving that penalty, then they scoring after 2 minutes or so.
Well, it was a good game. Onana saved that penalty. I went out to take a piece, and I came back. It was a clear-cut save, and I saw the the goal from Delete, and I'm like, that position was the same place Zexki was. A little bit of leave it for me would have helped Zexki score his own goal, but Delete was well positioned, well poised for that goal, and he got in on it. And the second goal, I just keep asking myself, why is Mubawa, I hope I don't mispronounce that name, Mubawa, always he was caught breaking the offside trap, and that was why the lead goal stands. And again, he was caught breaking the offside trap again, and that was why the other goal stands. What's it called? The Rashford goals, because you see that the lead was clearly offside. He was just far way back at the defenders. He was far below the defense line, and the lead was clearly in obstruction of that goal. Forgetting that he actually kind of dodged the ball to go in, but he was in obstruction. But if you look at the position of the lead, you could see that he was in an offside position, obstructing the keeper from seeing the angle of the ball, and it could have been a clear-cut offside. But the other guy, whether he had no boot on time, he was keeping it onside, and the 2 goals had to stand because of his wrong positioning for the Southampton side. So I'm just saying, in all, Man United kind of kept the ball to themselves, played a little bit safe. If you look at the game in all general, they played a bit safe. They were all passing backwards and sideways and all of that. There was no really forward drive, even when Rashford scored. After Rashford scored the goal, I think he kind of regained his confidence, because that goal was since March.
It's been a while.
That was his first goal since March, and he's kind of, after that goal, he kind of felt a bit of confidence driving in between 2 defenders. I saw him drive like 2 or 3 times. And I'm like, wow, this seems a goal can tell a lot in the person's performance and psychology. So I think in general it was a good game.
Okay, John, let me ask this question. Is it that Manchester United was brilliant today, or Southampton was bad?
I wouldn't say Southampton was a bad side, because until the first goal by
it was like almost 50-50.
Yeah, it was more than 50-50.
They outplayed Man United for the first 30 minutes.
It was more than 50-50.
Yes,
Manchester United were grabbing for straws, as at the time they considered that penalty. I'm talking about Diogo Dalot going in on Southampton's player, and then everybody was livid in terms of how could they have let these people get in an opportunity to, punish them. And unfortunately, Archer did Manchester United a solid by missing the penalty. Obviously, playing it towards Onana picking up an easy save, and, all that is in the past right now. I felt that had that penalty gone in, Manchester United would have been would have lost that game, because they would have been, their morale would have been disorganized. They would have been in disarray. They wouldn't have had the fight to come back to fight. It was that penalty miss was a wake-up call, and Manchester United reacted as, the big name they have. They lived up to their hype for about 10 minutes when they were able to go on, get the first goal thanks to Matthijs, the Ligt, and then missed 2 other chances thanks to Joshua Zexki. Zexki had an incredible running from
missed 2 sitters.
Kobe Mino, and blew it way off. And then Rashford also got a couple of them too before he scored the most important goal for him so far. Like I've always said on this podcast, you can never underemphasize the importance of a good psychiatrist in the team to work with players mentally, because once he scored that goal, we saw Rashford, who we've seen in a couple of games, who's been missing in action, running at defenders, putting them under pressure, putting Bednarek and the likes under pressure. And I'm like, wow, okay, that's a good one. Good goal for him, good morale booster. Let's see if he can.
But there was a red card in that game. And I want to ask the question now to fans, so you could drop a comment and let's see how it goes. Was that clearly a red card offense? Because no, it was 1 foot up below below the chin, and he kind of hit him in the knee, probably just the knee, and it was just
the thing about once you raise your boot to any tackle, once you raise your boot and the contact makes touches the next player, is always going to be a red card.
On the live show, we had a caller saying Man United has been rigging the system for a very long time. So now this is a call to them. Was this actually a red card?
No, I think that
was it well deserved?
Once you raise your boots, it's called a dangerous play.
Yeah.
Once you raise your boot, the referee considers it as a dangerous play. So most times they give the red card. Sometimes a referee can be lenient with players. They can start to give a yellow card. But most times, once they determine that play was dangerous, they are off.
There were cases they gave. I think there were cases they kind of penalized the players. Bruno Fernandes' yellow card was not deserved. If you ask me now, because I talked about the red card, now I want to hear your comments in that one. But now look at it. A ball was still on. The referee kind of waved his flag, but the side official has kind of waved his flag. But the whistle has not gone off yet, and he kind of crossed it early before the whistle go off, and the referee came on to give him a yellow card for kicking the ball away. Why is that?
No, I don't. You have to understand that sometimes referees make mistakes in that. And number two, VAR doesn't interfere with yellow cards. So even if the referee misses it and gives you a yellow card, it stands. That's just a part of the problem of VAR. Probably they have to rectify that. Okay, let me ask you the next question. How do you see Ugarte's debut?
It was kind of solid, but experience is still. It was solid for me, but he still lacked that knack for forward passes. You could see when Casemiro came in, you could see the composure on the ball, and when Dalot made that run, he could read the room. Like I could read the room, and he saw a run, and he made the pass in the direction of the run, and he got to the third goal. That's experience. That's someone as a defensive midfielder who could make forward passes. Ugarte didn't get much of the forward passes, but he was always in the right place to win tackles.
I think on Ugarte, it's a little bit early to say that he didn't make forward passes.
It's just 20 minutes.
It's just 20 minutes. So he's going to ease into the game. He's going to be more comfortable on the ball, like we saw Rashford after he scored.
He kind of won some impressive area goals.
Okay, guys, finally about Garnacho. Garnacho scored the last goal, but before the game, the thoughts came up that he was dropped because he liked on social media. He liked a post saying about Ronaldo and Ten Hag, but Ten Hag said that it does not matter. It was a tactical decision. But Garnacho, him coming up and scoring again, even though the last time he was ruled out, but the impact of Manchester United. How do you see Garnacho? Do you think he's a future star for this Manchester United side?
For me, I've said it a couple of times when we saw the season start, the way Ten Hag started with Bruno up front and Rashford on the left and all those stuff, and then Garnacho and one other person on the bench. I've always said it that I think Erik Ten Hag should play Garnacho more. If you're not going to play Zeski up front, play Rashford up front and let Garnacho start. You can always take him off and bring in some other person in that position because he adds so much to the team. And if you give him game time, you give him that ability to flourish and grow. Because him coming in and getting these cameo moments, getting a rescue goal for Man U here and there, in a couple months, eyes could be looking in his direction. He could be, having the feeling of being underappreciated at the club. You are actually going to have to use him. I disagree. I disagree. You're not managing anybody's expectations.
Look at it now. For a big side like Man United, like you say earlier when we were talking about Arsenal now, you're going to give young players like this a full 90 minutes spree. You understand? At some point, you give them 30 minutes. Throughout last season, he was playing good games. But this season, it's kind of early to start playing him in the whole 90 minutes of benching.
Kobe Mino played the game full.
See, Ahmad is starting. Understand this. Ahmad played in the Serie A before he came to Man United and was
He has played here in the Premier League last season.
Dropped. How many matches Ahmad played? He played FA Cup matches and he played Championship match with Sunderland. What are you telling me? Ahmad was playing in Atlanta for the first team in Atlanta in the Serie A.
Regardless,
and after that, he came to Man United and was dropped to the reserves. Youth setup. You understand? Now is his season. Throughout for like 2 years now, he's been on loan. Last season, he went on loan to Sunderland and he kind of did well there. Now he's back in the team. He's been given the shot. He and Anthony can fight for that position on the right. But on the left is Garnacho and Rashford, which definitely there will be a fight. But one person must always start ahead of the other. It's not every time you start this person, and sometimes in the FA Cups, like you look at the list they dropped for, for Europa League and for FA Cup, you could see that the list is different. But sometimes some person might just start ahead of, but you don't expect him to start all the games. You just expect him to get the regular 45 minutes and 30 minutes play. That's just it.
Okay, guys, Manchester United winning that game comfortably by 3-0. At least Ten Hag can rest. He's been under pressure for the past 3 weeks. He found a way to win this game 3-0.